It's the last weekend in July and we've come to the fantastic Chatsworth estate in the heart of Derbyshire for the 2023 Classic and Performance Car Show, brought to you by Great British Motor Shows. Over my shoulder you can see plenty of people. We're all surprised by the turnout. They're expecting over 2,500 cars here today, including attending members of the public. We'll be getting a look at the show, having a look at what's going on, talking to a few people, owners and visitors. Why don't you come along and join us? Plenty of one make clubs here at the show, but we've come and joined the TT Owners Club, one model. With me is Nick Goodall. Nick, a new show this year. How have you found it?
It's been really good actually. It's local to myself, so we're trying to find somewhere extra for the club to go because we're a bit short of events this year, and Chatsworth being such a lovely place, we're going to talk to the show organisers and we've got involved.
Fantastic. The TT, a distinctive car, but as we were saying off camera, they've kind of dropped off in popularity and desirability amongst people who don't know.
I suppose so. I think the price point now for the early cars has got rock bottom now, so you can get one for £500 now. So a lot of the enthusiasts have moved on to other things, I think. We've still got the chaps with the brand new TTRSs, the Mark IIIs, £50,000 cars. So that's still there, but like you say, the bottom end of the cars now, and the maintenance is getting a bit of a nightmare with the older cars as well. So people are moving on, I think, now. Yeah.
And what's the attraction for you about a TT?
The attraction initially was the fact that I wanted something small and sporty that had lost a lot of money. The car I had before had a bit of a hit with depreciation, so I found something that had already lost it, basically. I had a Mark 1 TT for 13 years and I've got a Mark 2 now. So, tell
us about why you dispensed with your Mark 1 and why a Mark 2 was the replacement.
Okay, so I'd had the Mark 1 for 13 years and it had just tipped 200,000 miles at that point, and it was just getting a bit tired, basically. So we made the choice to get rid of that and get a Mark II, basically. It was a bit of a search, though. We looked at TTSs for the price point. They were all either accident damaged or destroyed, or they just weren't the right cars. So being part of the club, I'd got a good knowledge of other models. So we ended up with basically a facelift, so a 2011 car, which looks like a TTS, but it's also a black edition, an S-tronic automatic, and the Quattro as well, which is quite rare. So basically that's where we ended up, yeah.
That does sound like chalk and cheese from your Mark 1, to be honest.
It does certainly, yeah. No, obviously, my wife had an automatic. We moved to the family car automatic and we enjoyed that. And after driving that for a while, it made no sense not to get one for the TT as well, basically. They're both Quattros, and that's why I wanted the Quattro stuff, because I've been so used to it for so long, really. So.
Fantastic. It's such a handsome looking car and very distinctive on the road. They kind of moved away from that purity of design, haven't they?
They have a little bit, yeah. Obviously, the Mark II got a little bit less, less curvy. The Mark III is much more angular and chiselled, I think now. It's the only way the whole brand went, I think, really. The whole added design ethos went a lot more chiselled and futuristic, I suppose. But there's still, the familiar shape still sits there with the actual outlines. It's very similar to put all three together, I think, still. So.
Oh, you can see the familial resemblance and the development. Do Audi take any interest in your activity officially?
Officially, yeah. We've actually, over the year, we've had quite a lot of interest, actually. We've got quite a lot of contacts at Audi UK headquarters in Milton Keynes. We've had them attend our events before, bring some show cars before to us. So perhaps not in the last few years, but we've had a lot of good contacts and good memories there, yeah.
Fantastic. And you've had a good showing today, so do you think you'd come back if the show happened again next year?
Absolutely, yeah. No, we love the place here, so now we come as a family quite often anyway, and just the grounds and the setting is beautiful, really. There's been such a variety of cars on the show. It's been nice to see. So,
how active as a club is the TT Owners Club?
We're pretty active. We've got about 500 members over the country. We've been going nearly 20 years now, I think, from conception of the club in 2003. I've been chairman about 16 years now. And we've got members all over the country, in fact all over the world, to be fair, that join actually as just members. We attend 5 or 6 at least of these sorts of shows throughout the year, and we have our own annual event every year just as a club where we get 150 cars of our own members together, and we do that every year. So
fantastic stuff. Thanks very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
We're with Giles Dive and his Triumph TR6. Now, I know this is a long-term ownership car, Giles. Tell us a little bit of the potted history.
Right, it had quite a few owners when it early on in its life, but I've owned it now for 24 years and it's fundamentally standard. I've done a few little odds and ends. It had a respray following a slight bump 20 odd years ago, and since then a few minor modifications, better fuel pump and exhaust and electronic ignition, but basically I like to keep it standard and it gets out and about. It's not going to win a show, but it goes well, makes everybody smile.
Now, unlike many cars at a lot of car shows we attend, this one earns its living, doesn't it? If it's a nice day, you'll go out, won't you? I know that.
Oh yes. If it's, even if it's just out to the supermarket, down to the library, it will get a run out. I don't believe in laying it up for the winter and finding that the brakes have seized or the clutch is frozen on. If you get a nice clear day, got the sheepskin jacket, silly hat, take it out for a blast. That's what it's all about.
And what is it, about an hour and a half for you to drive down this morning?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
What was the attraction of Chatsworth and the show today, and what do you think of the turnout?
Well, been a fantastic turnout. Everything from the modern stuff through to, a good few pre-war cars. Trying to work out which one I would happily swap with. But, been interesting having a wander around. Talked to a few owners about their cars, and good day.
Excellent. I mean, we've got some owners clubs groupings here. The TVRs are down at the bottom of the hill. You're here independent and solo. Is that the way you like to do it?
Well, yeah, occasionally if the TR Register have got something going, I'll come along with them, but it was just a question of, I had a friend with a TVR, and I thought, come on, let's have a day out, see what there is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for your time, Giles.
My pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Of course, without the general public, these shows just don't work, and you don't have to have a classic or a performance car to attend a Great British Motor Show. Kelly Hartley, you have a perfectly normal, perfectly usable everyday car, but you're a regular at shows like this.
Absolutely. Any show, local, far, I'm absolutely there from the beginning. Usually the first one there and the last one to leave. Yeah, I think they're brilliant.
So what's the specific attraction? What turns you on about these shows?
I mean, look at the collection. If you've had a look round, you've got everything from the early E-types, you've got pre-war cars here to, the Aston Martins, the competition racing ones. I mean, it's such an eclectic collection. There's something for everybody. The collection is just vast and beautiful.
So you've been wandering around talking to people. What's your favourite car that you've seen so far?
I really like the XK120. Absolutely adore it in a beautiful green. It's absolutely stunning. That iconic light line that goes off at the back. Oh, I've had a little sit in it as well. The owner was wonderful.
And what do you think is the attraction for you of coming to a show here on the Chatsworth estate?
I mean, the amount of cars that I hear, people bringing them along to showcase it all in one place. Where else can you go and see a collection this vast of cars that you can get really up close and speak to the owners and find out the history and the story of it? It's unbelievable. It's worth every penny to come down. Absolutely. It's fantastic. That's the attraction of just seeing it all in one place. I'm like a kid at Christmas.
Fantastic, like a kid at Christmas. I love it. We've moved up to the edge of the rally field and the stand of the Capri Club International, and I couldn't resist getting in this fantastic 48,000 mile from new deregistered 2-litre laser. Now, I had a 1600 laser in 1998, 1999, so this is really taking me back. Looking at the controls, it all feels very familiar, very professionals. Stuff of my youth this, the Capri, the car you always promised yourself. We'll be back with some more fantastic cars in part 2. Welcome back to part 2 of the Great British Motor Show's event here at Chatsworth. Now, I'm with Ian. Americana, not just classic British cars. This Buick just caught my eye. It's stunning. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's a 1956 Buick Century, two-door, one of 33,334 built. I had it about 5 years, bought it in COVID, got a little bit bored, saw it on eBay and thought, yeah, why not? It needs a bit of work, it needs a bit of love. So but it's been ongoing. It never stops. Like a lot of the classic cars here, you just keep doing stuff, like the Forth Road Bridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you see a fair few tri-Chevys, 55, 56, 57 Chevys. The Bel Air is in the lineup here as well. Was it a Buick you were after, or was it just that classic click of the mouse, oh, that's odd, on eBay?
It was actually Buick. I love the styling of the Buick cars, although they're built on the same platforms as the Chevys and the Cadillacs. Buick themselves had a bit of a leeway with the design, and I just like the way that the spears come down to the rear of the car, that sort of stuff, the extra chrome. Yeah, nice car.
Yeah, we were having that conversation driving down earlier, actually, how today cars built on similar platforms, you could mistake them for each other.
Yeah.
But here, as you say, the GM platform served 4 or 5 different badges, but the detailing and the styling, they were totally independent cars, weren't they?
That's right, yeah. Harley Earl, I believe, was the guy responsible for the Buicks. Yeah.
And you get that classic 4 porthole in the wing design that I absolutely love.
Yeah. 3 on a special, but 4 denotes a Century, a Super or a Roadmaster.
That's a bit of trivia I didn't know, and I'm all the better for knowing that. Now, you've got a few subtle customisations. The dice on the gear selector, just very subtle, but they personalise the car.
Yeah, definitely. And the dice on the doorknobs here, that's it, just little things, just to make it yourself, make it your own, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for talking to us, Ian.
No worries, Guy. Take care.
Cheers.
Have a good day.
Taking the opportunity of the lunch break here at Chatsworth to grab a seat instead of wandering around and talk to the arena host, Les Clayton. Les, what do you think of the show here at Chatsworth?
Fantastic. We have over 1,000 classic vehicles here, Guy. Great turnout. I mean, the venue itself, it's just incredible. Building an estate, very, very famous, of course, with the TVs and the filming that's done here. And people, especially with classic vehicles, flock here to events like this. And it's just an absolutely stunning event, this one in particular, because today we have over 1,000 classic vehicles here. And what you're seeing today as well is a moving museum of our motoring heritage. And they are all shapes, sizes, colours and values, but they are all somebody's pride and joy as well. And for me, we can see many of these vehicles in a museum, but to see them here today with a venue like Chatsworth, you can't get anything much better.
Absolutely. Now, we know we're in the middle of the run of classes in the showground here at the arena. What's been your standout exhibit so far?
Oh, it's very, very difficult because we have a section here called Super Sports Cars, as well as being a classic event. If I was looking for a real classic, one of the sections that we've just won was a lovely little 1934 Austin. And then just next to that was a Singer Le Mans from 1939, which had been around the Le Mans track 2 or 3 times earlier this year. Those sort of vehicles. But if you want to come up to the modern vehicle, the modern classic if you like, we've had a Lamborghini Diablo here, which must be worth, I don't know, over a £250,000, perhaps even more, £400,000. So the diversity of the vehicles that are here is just incredible, absolutely incredible.
That just bears testament to Great British Motor Shows. Doesn't matter what you're interested in, you can find a place at one of the shows.
You can, and it's all about, again, the owners of the vehicles, the stories they've got to tell as to how they come by that classic vehicle. There's so many of these vehicles are found in barns and cattle sheds and these sort of things. But yeah, they've all got a story to tell, and it's their pride and joy. It might be a little old Austin 7, or it might be the Lamborghini, and all those in between. But they have all got a story to tell, and they're the people I like to ask about them, because they'll know more about them than I'll ever know.
Absolutely right. Thanks very much for your time, Les. Much appreciated.
It's a pleasure.
As we were walking across the showground, we just had to stop Mike and his fantastic BMW Alpina. It stands out as an exemplary car, even in this company. So Mike, tell us about this gorgeous BMW.
Well, Guy, it's an E30 C2 2.7, so it's quite a rare car. BMW Alpina in their day converted 153 worldwide. Sytner were the only people in Nottingham to be allowed to convert the UK models, and they did around 101. I think there's about 60 that are known now still to be about. A lot of them worldwide were left-hand drive 4-door automatics. This one is rare because it's a 2-door manual right-hand drive, so it's quite popular when I take it to shows.
I bet it is. I think Frank Sytner was a BMW driver in British Touring Car Championship, so Sytner and BMW goes together like bangers and mash. But what attracted you to this exact car?
I think Frank Sytner summed it up. He did an interview on the TV, and he said at the time that people that had had a Porsche or perhaps a quick sports car, they wanted a car for the connoisseur, the thinking man's car he called it, and it's got everything you could possibly want really. It's a straight 6, 2.7, it's got bags of torque, and it's just a pleasure to drive. And in its day, back in 1989, it actually had the bragging rights over the M3. It was quicker.
Absolutely.
Then I think they bought the Evo out, the M3, BMW did, and just took its edge. But back in its day, the kit was just over £8,000 plus VAT on top of your brand new 325i.
And how long have you owned it?
About 14 years now.
And have you enjoyed the show at Chatsworth? Has it received the usual level of attention you've come to expect?
Yes, it has. It's really been quite popular. People like to have a look at them. They tend to be a car for the person that knows their cars, if that makes sense, Guy. And they then understand what they are, all the conversion that went into them. And it is a super show. I do take it to a few shows, and I have to say today has been probably one of the best I've ever been to.
Well, this car, as I say, caught our eye, and if I remember rightly from my school days, the advertising strapline was the ultimate driving machine. Would you agree with that?
It was. Yes, it certainly was. And I have to say, for me, I think it is.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike. Come down to the bottom end of the show field to talk to the Stag Owners Club, who we find down here, and Steve Buxton in front of your fantastic, is it Midnight Blue, would we call it?
No, it's Jaguar Dark Blue. It's not even a Triumph colour, but it's something that I liked when we rebuilt the car in 2000. So it came from California, and it was a rust-free car. So we rebuilt it, and we've been running it ever since. And we've done approximately 70,000 miles. We've been all over Europe in the car. So yeah, great fun.
So if you're anything like me, you think year 2000, that's recent, but it's 23 years ago now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, don't take me wrong, it needs some maintenance in between, but yeah, we've not really had any real problems with it. People mention a lot of problems with overheating, but I've had 2 Stags and never really had any problems with overheating.
I've always thought with Stags, if they're okay now, whatever issues there may have been with the early owners have been sorted.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as long as you look after them, I think they're okay. Same with a lot of classic cars, really. The biggest problem with the 1970s cars is rust, I suppose. So that's why you're going for American cars.
Absolutely. Now, we've got, I think you're saying 2 of the areas of the Stag Club here?
Yeah, there's Notts Derby areas here, and I think it's the Yorkshire area that's also here, yes. So, but I don't know. I mean, there might be people from other areas, because if you look around the site, there's quite a few other stags here as well.
There are. It's quite impressive. I mean, as you alluded to, everyone thinks of stags and overheating issues, but an awful lot of survivors if this turned out something to go by.
Yeah, I think there's about 26,000 stags made, and there's probably around 10,000 left. So, but then I think they're a very futuristic car for the time. And if they hadn't have had the problems with British Leyland, I think maybe the Stag would have lasted a lot longer than it did in terms of production.
Quite right, I'm sure it would. And of course, for me, it's probably the only James Bond car that I'm ever going to be able to afford.
Well, that's what I thought. When I was 17, I worked at a local pub, and the guy there had a brand new TR6 and a brand new Stag, and he let me drive him when I was 17. So I was very, very privileged. And one day I thought, well, maybe I will be able to afford one. So when I was in my early 40s, we had a Stag. So, and it's progressed from there.
Progressed? You're hinting there's more than one in the family?
There's more than, not more than one Stag, but I've got TRs as well.
Right.
And a Healy 3000. Yeah.
Clearly British sports cars are in your blood.
They are, yes, yeah. Well, my dad was a mechanic, and my brother's rebuilt cars all his life, the same as me, really. So, yeah, it's sort of in the DNA.
It does get under your skin, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Steve Buxton, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We've reached the climax of the afternoon, the judging of the car of the show, and I have to admit I am very, very pleased, having raced all sorts of varieties of Austin 7, owned a 1929 Cambridge Special and 1939 Ruby, to see the Swallow family Austin Type 65 take the trophy means a lot to me. Glorious example. So Janet, tell us a little bit, a potted history of your car.
Well, this was found in a barn just before lockdown, and we just bought it untested but seen. Took a chance on it, really, and when we washed it and polished it, we were very pleasantly surprised. Having done some research about this car, we're really quite surprised how rare it is, and we enjoy every minute of driving it.
Fantastic to have it driven here, as well as taking, well, 2 awards, because obviously we saw it win its class earlier, the Pre-60, to reach it to the playoff final, if you like. What is it about the Austin 7 that endears it to so many people, do you think?
It's such an iconic car because the beginning of the Austin 7 opened up motoring to so many families. The man in the street could afford to buy one and take his family out at the weekend. It just opened so many opportunities for so many people. Just a particularly nice car. And of course the design was taken overseas, so it was produced in Germany, for instance. It was the first BMW. It's just had such an impact on motoring, and of course whenever we go out it always gets a lot of smiles, a lot of waves, so that's nice.
That's absolutely the key. Now, it's the first time that we've had a Great British Motor Show here at Chatsworth. Do you think the event's been a success?
Very much so. All the cars here today, in their own right, have been magnificent. Because there are so many different types here, it's just been amazing. One of the nicest shows we've been to, so I congratulate you on that.
Thank you so much. So, from the Motor for the Million, as the 7 was marketed, thanks for taking time to watch us today. We'll be back hopefully quite soon with another on these Great British Motor Shows programmes. I'm Guy Loveridge. Take care. Bye-bye.